However, this is a very interesting topic, and I will probably make an episode uh, or two about this issue. But one thing is true, what one has to say, this is rather a mathematical term, and this is everything that's beautiful is when it is in a proportion. So this is soothing for the eye. This has to do with the fact how your eyes are built, how your eyes, if you watch into a room, then your eyes can perceive depths of a room, and this depths from your point of view always stand in a proportion. I mean, this is called in German the goldene Schnitt, the golden cut, but I think in English it's probably being called differently, however, and in this well, you can't do anything else than see the world in a probation, in probation and relations to each other. This is how you see an object, because this is how your eyes are built. Period. So this means beauty is partially if something is very symmetric, as well as if something is in proportion. But and beauty is of course something is emotional, because if you only see that a small child, a baby, is actually ugly, it is ugly in that sense. It is not very proportional. It has a huge head, very small limbs. This is not very this is not beautiful. This is not soothing for your eyes eyes and you would normally call it ugly, but no one will call a baby ugly, but rather cute. So beauty has emotional investment, is subjective, but as well as has an objective view. However, I wanna talk about this later, because I think this is a very interesting topic, what you crave for, why you crave for, and so on. And of course, another thing which is very common within the left, and which I will probably talk later on as well, is that you some sort of escape in homosexuality, to escape this this view, this male case. This says, I mean, in the university, this is what I experienced. I mean, I'm straight. I'm a straight man. I and I always experienced, when I would say that I'm straight, that people would always scold me. You are part of the majority and so on. So there is, of course, some sort of pressure to be not some sort of to be not part of the mainstream, and this is another big issue within the millennial, so that it is fixation of mainstream, of majority and minority, and everything that's part of the majority is detestable, and everything that's part of the minority, whatever it is likable. I mean, minority as well as if your ethnicity, your ethnic background, and so on. And this ethnic background again plays a very crucial form in feminism. But I think ethnicity and multiculturalism deserves a separate episode. But however, despite the fact that that there are so many answers or some approaches to deal with this over sexualization within the media, and all these attempts. I mean, there are of course conservative attempts in Germany, for example. There are some approaches with conservatives, or there is an approach of conservative feminism, which then states, yeah, as a woman you should not present yourself, or it is rather been considered negative if you some sort of expose yourself on social media or wherever, and rather preserve yourself, and so on. There is of course a conservative feminist movement as well. But however, this feminism or millennial feminism lacks one huge issue, and this is actually very important. This is having a positive view on women and female, or at having a positive view on the female body as well as on the female sexuality, because to this very day there is rather and the reasons we said are a very negative view on female sexuality, because it would be rather for men and would be exploitation, but as well as there's a very negative view on female on the female body. So you so you uh, I'm sorry. So you see some women who pretty much dislike and even disdain the female body, how it appears like, and this is some, you could say, some sort of women take over male behavior, man behavior, whatever this is, as well as they start dressing themselves like man, as well as their haircut. Some feminists still think that a short haircut would mean some sort of emancipation, or it is some sort of again another attempt to flee this gaze male gaze and some sort of emancipate themselves from this male gaze, from this over sexualization, and this then leads partially to a masculinity of women. They dress like men, they have short hair like men, they walk like men or try to walk like men. This is the case of inferiority. This is when they have adopted and adapted the scale of man. So how men view them, or this is how they perceive they are being viewed by men. This is how they adopt, and then they dislike being a woman. Then being woman is being considered as inferior, as despicable, and not someone as craving for. And of course, you have to be aware of one thing, and I think Franz Fanon once said that the conquered always take over the religion of the conquerors, and this means, I mean, it is beyond doubt then that within the society, men are leading, men are dominant, and that this has indeed some appeal to some people, so that everything that's being considered as dominant is as well as being considered as being successful, and this is then this is something you see in daily life. This is what the feminist literature is about, what many feminists said. This is indeed true. Some women take this, but nevertheless, this so-called cross dressing, and many feminists have advocated to do this. I think this does not lead to anywhere. This is very problematic. First of all, it looks negatively on the female body as well as womanhood in general. I mean, if you some sort of deny your womanhood, or if you want to be try to be someone you are not, this actually leads to some sort of not knowing your own sexuality as well as your self-esteem, and this is even more problematic, and this is what we will talk about as well. As if you think that gender is created, and gender is a social constructed sex, if you think that this is constructed, that this has no foundation in reality, then if you then take over male dresses, if you then take over male behavior, then you help help, help to maintain this gender role of male dominance, so that feminists, especially in the millennial age, some sort of partially or some sort of and partially contribute to the perception of man, or that everything that is dominant, that is being considered as strong, is being associated with with manness and feminism, despite the fact that they want to fight this, they somehow in or passively support this point of view. However, I mentioned a very important term. This is gender, and I want to talk about very briefly about the difference between sex and gender, which are indeed very important to understand feminism, but as well as, like I said, it is as well as important to understand the male perception, because don't make a mistake about it. This construction or social construction of sexuality applies as well as to man, especially as a man. You have to act in a certain way. This means, for example, in an act certain way, it is a role model. It is a role model that's been given to you, and then if you can't act like this, for example, I give an example. As a man, everyone expects for you or of you to take care of your family, to be the family head. But what can you do if you become unemployed or whatever, and you can't take care of your family anymore? And and this has indeed an effect on your self-understanding as man, and so on. So these are very important issues. This is not only confined to women, but as well as men as well. And I want to start with a very famous quote of Simone de Beauvoir, and she said that you are not born as a woman, but you are made one. And this is very important to understand, that there is a gender, that, or let's start in other ways, that there is a biological sex. This is your genitalia, of course, but this is not only your genitalia, but as well as your the way how your brain works, the whether you have estrogen or testosterone in your veins. This is called uh, biological sex. You could say the fact. So the fact that you are, so it doesn't matter what you think of yourself, whatever, but the fact is what you have, how your brain works, which hormones stream through your body. This determines your biological sex. And the opposite is a social constructed sex. This is called gender, and this is how you behave yourself in public, or the role models that's been brought to you, like we said about man. From man, this applies as well. You as a man have to be the sole breadwinner. You as man have to take care of your woman, and then this is not always easy to some sort of fulfill this expected role model, because with every role model there of course comes